What up, what up? It's Ace OG, back on the top, back on the video. So the title of this video is gonna be Men will sacrifice their happiness before women, or before women do. So admin notes, thanks again, subscribe to the channel. I definitely keep pushing the video out, give you leverage, you better yourselves. So let's get into it. So why do I say that men will sacrifice their happiness before women do? So I'm a part of a marriage Facebook page or group on Facebook, right? And been a part of that group for a long time now. Sometimes I chime in, sometimes I don't. But there's been some hot topics coming up over the last 6 months on that particular Facebook page, and I've been up there commenting, getting my 2 cents on things. And there's one particular individual, I'm not going to say her name, but she's gone back and forth with me so many times with some of these subjects. Like every time I comment something, she always gonna come back and kind of react. Like, it's kind of crazy, honestly, you know what I'm saying? But one thing that I surmise from her, the way she talks and the way she responds to comments, even with comments that she's not responding to me, I really believe that she's in a space where her husband is basically like her equal partner. There's nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no say with how people run their relationships. So, all I know is how I run mines, and how me and my wife interact with each other. But, anybody else or other couples have a dog in the fight when it comes to that. So I'm not going to, I never tried to convince her or anybody else to change the dynamic of their relationship. But I do, give my 2 cents on certain things. And I do feel like, there's certain aspects of relationship that may not work depending on the dynamic and depending on how people interact with each other, the husband and the wife. So anyways, this particular question came up. Actually, I think it was a video that I saw on that page, and basically there was a guy that was explaining how men will stay in a miserable marriage before a woman does, right? They'll stay there because of the bigger picture. They'll stay in place because of the kids. They'll stay in place, because of maybe financial situation. But the main theme that the guy was trying to get at was that if the man really loves his wife, regardless of how painful and miserable he is, he will stay there. And I'm not saying the women don't do the same thing, but it's facts. Like I couldn't deny what he was saying. Here's the thing when it comes to relationships, when it comes to that type of dynamic. So you have a husband and a wife. They've been married, doesn't matter how long they've been married. They've been married for 6 months, a year, 10 years, doesn't matter. And they get into a situation or a space where like they don't like each other, or somebody did something that was crazy and the other person feels really some type of way about it. And they just one feels like the relationship can't last, and it's time to cut ties. What I would say is a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, the husband will sacrifice his feelings for the bigger picture and for the marriage as a whole, versus women will cut their losses and they'll leave. And once again, I'm not saying all women do this. I'm not saying all wives do this. But there's a reason why, and I think this is based off of statistics, that 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Now, I know a lot of women will probably come up here on this video and say that there's a really good reason why I left my husband. He cheated. He gave me an STD. He beat on me. He beat my kids. He was really bad with money, and he had us on the streets, and I couldn't take somebody not being able to take care of me, right? All these things. So I'm not saying that those reasons are not valid for a woman to leave, because I understand how emotional women are when it comes to a lot of things. And I'm not saying that their reasoning for leaving is not valid. All I'm saying is that I think some women really think that their resiliency when it comes to a marriage is more than men. And it's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even close. Because, a man will a man that really loves you, a husband that really loves you, he will put up with you cheating. He'll put up with you mismanaging money. He'll put up with you cussing you out. I even seen situations where the wife beat the husband and he stayed. Right? Domestic violence for women on men is actually a real thing. That's not cap. That's not a falsehood. That's a real thing, right? I think men will really put up with a lot of punishment from their wives to stay in that relationship versus the opposite, where a woman will not stay. And I'm not saying that women are making bad choices to leave. I'm not saying it at all, because if you're a woman and you really cannot take what the husband did to you, then, you know, get your peace of mind. You know, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of that, I think that a lot of women in this day and age give up way too soon. Now, I know my age group, a lot of us are pretty resilient when it comes to that, because we were raised by baby boomers and, you know, and folks that were older than that. I think, what was it, the generation before baby boomers? Maybe the silent generation? I can't remember which one it was. Actually, I think my grandmother was a silent generation because she was born in the 20s. Anyways, the generation that was right before baby boomers, you know, Gen Xers are old enough to where we actually remember that generation. And I know women will probably come back and say that there was a lot of situations where the woman didn't have the means to leave because she didn't have a job, she couldn't get a job. There was restrictions on what women could do, and that's the reason why she stayed. Okay, I get that. I totally get that. and a lot of women will be correct in saying that, because feminism really brought women to the forefront for women to be able to take care of themselves, versus back in those days, if you didn't have a man, you couldn't survive. And I think younger women don't understand that. Like back in the day, like a woman could not survive unless they had a man. That's the reason why women got married off at an early age, because you could not take care of yourself unless you had a man. Like seriously, or you stayed with your parents and your father took care of you until you got married. But it was very rare to see a woman actually out there on her own take care of herself, because they more likely they couldn't get the job they needed to even take care of themselves, right? Then you had, you know, situations where they need to be protected by men. So I know feminism has been able to give women the opportunity to really not need a man for a lot of things. I totally get that. But all I'm saying is that I just want to bring to the forefront as far as why men stay unhappy in marriages for a long period of time for the bigger picture. And a lot of women are not emotionally capable of doing that. And there's a lot of women out here right now that, they got divorced, and, they may regret it. They may not regret it. They may be living their best life right now, being single, That's another dynamic that I think a lot of guys don't really understand, because I know there's a lot of guys that come up here and they'll say, you got to be miserable because you left your husband. Truth be told, there's a lot of women out here that left their husband and they actually are thriving. They don't mind being single. On the flip side of that, once they get older, I think that's when reality is going to hit them. I think women get into their late 60s, early 70s, and they don't have a man. I think that's when reality really sets in. It's like, I was dating, I was young, I was doing my thing, and now as I'm in my old age right now, I either got to depend on my kids to take care of me, or maybe you don't even have any kids. I've seen older women that don't have kids. So what do you do when you're in your 70s? You can't work anymore, and you can't take care of yourself, right? So all I'm saying is that women that are married right now that are watching this video, do not give up that easily on your husband. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We as a whole are not perfect, right? But I've seen too many marriages that have been destroyed by not good understanding, not good communication, and the woman is not able to stay in that marriage because of something that the husband did. Because it's always a situation where the husband is the main culprit. He's the one that actually is the reason why she left. But always remember this. It's your truth, his truth, and then the real truth is in the middle somewhere. Always remember that. It's your truth, his truth, and the real truth is in the middle. Because your perspective is going to be different than his. And then if a third party can see both sides and tell you, hey, you know what? Both of y'all have some truth, but y'all don't have all the truth. This is what the real truth is. So go to counseling. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give up on your man. It ain't. It's not peaches and cream out here, y'all. It really isn't. You know what I'm saying? If your husband did something really crazy, but he's telling you that he does not want a divorce, but he did something crazy, really contemplate that. Because what if you did something crazy? Will he tell you that he wants to divorce you? I mean, most women study their man, you know what I'm saying? So if he did something crazy and he's telling you that he doesn't want a divorce, but you want a divorce, flip it around. Know your husband. What if you did the same thing? Would he leave you? I would say a lot wouldn't in this day and age. Anyway, drop some comments in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all think. It's a crazy thing I'm saying right now with marriages. You know, I've been married myself for 20 years. You know, I'm not a marriage counselor. You know, take my advice with a grain of salt. You know, I've been through a lot of stuff with my wife. You know what I'm saying? I've been through a lot of stuff. She's been through a lot of stuff. You know, and by the grace of God, we're still together. You know, and I may get into some of the stuff we've gone through before in other videos. I may even make another channel just for that, because when I tell you, and if I ever become very extremely transparent with the things that me and my wife have gone through in the last 20 years, you would not believe that we're still together. Like, I mean, seriously. I mean, it runs that deep. It runs that deep. And I'm telling you right now, I have no intention to ever in life leave my wife. It's to death do us part, straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the way me and my wife is. You know what I'm saying? We made it happen. We worked it out. We made it happen. You know what I'm saying? And I think too many marriages they're not in that space. And a lot of times the woman that don't want to compromise. Anyways, I don't want to go into too much of a tangent. I know I might have some women in their feelings right now. So drop some comment section below. Let me know what y'all think. If you want me to discuss the topic or subject in the beneficial channel, email me at aceog757@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. Say so G, signing out. I'm gone.